What's up, Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition of MVP Sports Live, right here on either twitch.tv MVP Vids or MVP Sports on YouTube. I am joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Dave, how you doing today? How's your Tuesday after the Labor Day going?
You know, it's another day of the week. That's all I got to say. Just looking towards that weekend yet again.
Looking towards the weekend. And
long
it's not
weekend
even
happened.
halfway
Need
through.
a new weekend.
It's just not even like in the car. That's a question.
Man, tomorrow's hump day. What are you talking about?
So here's a well, it's not even hump day, and
No, it is. It's hump day. It's still hump day.
Here's a hypothetical, and I know both you and I are out of school. What would you rather do? Would you rather go to a school that was like, we have a 4-day week, so it's basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You're off Friday, Saturday, Sunday every time, but it's a year-round school, so no summer break, but you get a spring break. You get like a week in the spring and a week in the in the like a week or two, week and a half, 2 times a year, but there's no actual summer break. Mm-hmm. But you get 3-day weekends instead of 2-day weekends.
I would probably...
And then your 3-day weekends turn into 4-day weekends then. Because those Mondays that are...
That does sound like a good deal. That does sound like... I'm afraid to change, though, so I don't know if I'd do it. But I've worked 4-day weeks at, like, actual work, and that's fine. Like, yeah, I have no problem. Why can't we just do, like, longer weeks and not have to work year-round? Like, can we do 10-hour days at school, and then I don't have to go to school summer, you know?
The thing, and this was brought up when I was student teaching, my cooperating teacher actually brought it up, is he never understood why, especially here in America, we started the school day so early.
Yeah, it's awesome.
He was like, instead of starting at 8:30, bump it back an hour. So, like, you have the same day, but it starts at 9:30. Yeah, fuck it. You don't get out until, like, I think for them it'd be 4. They get out at, like, 3:30, 4:30, one of the two. And it's like, yeah, everything just gets pushed back. But he's like, I just noticed that the kids that are there at 8:30 are not very alert, and it usually takes an hour for them to be like, okay, I'm up. I'm up and I'm starting to.
That, like, kids growing should not be asked to be in school that early in the morning. Like, it's like they need more sleep. We're sleep deprived. There's no way we're anywhere near as like you said, awake or like conscious in the classroom as we would be a couple hours later. So I'm all for later hours start. I'm all for no homework. I'm all for getting schools to a better place.
No homework. I love it. But
there's no point to have homework.
You guys aren't here for talking schools. You guys are here for Sports Live. Let's get into the housekeeping, the little housekeeping before Dave. Maybe they are here for talking schools.
We're just going on random rants. I mean, I am watching. I didn't realize I'm after like writing on page of Reddit. Watch them burn dumpster fire shirt today. So I guess
that's just the state of the world right now, Dave. It's just watch them burn.
Literally.
Watch them burn. But a little bit of housekeeping. Number one, join the Discord. It's a great time. The MVP Fantasy Football live draft, which is now on our YouTube page, MVP Sports. That is basically a little snippet of what you can get just for $1 at patreon.com/MVP Vids. But also the Discord, the great community that we've got going on there. That's the group of people we've got. We've got many more that are non-patrons and are talking in the text channel. So link down below or in Twitch, !Discord, get you that link. Then Patreon. I said it, patreon.com/MVP Vids. That little snippet, that hour and a half, that's usually like what the watch alongs are. And then so I know a lot of people left, and it was Soapy, Tim, and I basically were in there all night talking wrestling and shit. So it's usually a great time. You guys should check it out, patreon.com/MVP Vids. And also, thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hale and Philly Sean. Last but not least, we do record the show Monday through Friday live, twitch.tv/MVP Vids. But they also go up on MVP Sports on YouTube as well. Also, hello to Eric in the Twitch chat. But Dave, we are going to start with football. Today's just football and basketball on the docket. And the first thing, if people watched the fantasy draft that's on YouTube or watched it live last night, they would know how this relates to you But we have already talked about this last week, but sources say, this is from ESPN, that the Saints and Alvin Kamara are extremely close to a lucrative extension. And the thing that they kind of go into is that determining where Kamara's value lies may ultimately prove difficult because there's a wide chasm between Christian McCaffrey's $16 million a year and Joe Mixon's $12 million a year in the recent extension. So based off everything we've talked about, Dave, about his injury history, about running back health, and usually once you get to like 30, I mean, right now, he's 25. So he's got 5 years until that magical 30 number.
Right.
What do you think when you hear the words lucrative extension, and should the Saints be doing this?
I mean, look, I feel like they're in a situation where I could understand if they don't extend him, but I also understand if they do. Like, does he deserve to get his payday? Yes. As a running back, you have to get paid sooner rather than later because, like you said, 30 is that gold number. It's like, good luck getting money after 30. That's just not a thing that'll happen to most guys. But at the same time, this feels like a Saints team where they're entering in the final year of playoff deep run viability. I feel like Drew Brees maybe this year, maybe next year retires at the end of the season. So, like, why would you want to bog down your roster with a big contract for running back? I get it because Alvin Kamara was a game changer 2 years ago. It was very good last year still, but it questions to me, like, what do the Saints plan to do with this roster? Because I'm pretty sure they've got like very little money available that's already not guaranteed. So we'll see. I mean, it's good for him to get his money on the one side, absolutely all about it. But on the other side, long-term plans for the Saints, little questionable.
Yeah, I almost I look at this and I go, is this, and I know some people are going to be like, Ricky, you're insane here. He's a top running back talent. And he's only 25, but there's a part of me of like, unless it's for like 4 years and it's not like even a 5-year deal wouldn't be bad, but like, I'm thinking maybe 3 to 4 years on this. Like, is it going to be that small of a deal or is it going to be like a 6-year deal?
No, you can't give a running back a 6-year. Are you insane?
Christian McCaffrey he's heading into the last year of his rookie contract. He got 1, 2, 3, 4. He got a 5-year extension at $16 million a year. And then
we're talking about the guy. Go ahead.
And then Joe Mixon got 3 and a team up.
3 and a team up sounds about right for Alvin Kamara.
And that's a huge chasm of like, is he closer to Joe Mixon? Is he closer to the Christian McCaffrey? Well, because at his top end, he pretty much is, I'm not going to say the exact same as McCaffrey, but at his top end healthy, he was as electric as McCaffrey was to the Panther offense. That first year, he was electric.
I vehemently disagree with you in how useful to a team they were. Christian McCaffrey was the identity of the Carolina Panthers offense. He moved the ball for them. They literally did not have any other options. If he could have taken snaps as a Wildcat 25 times a game, they would have done that. Like, that was literally their best chance of winning a game was putting the ball in Christian McCaffrey's hands and hope to God he can make something happen. Alvin Kamara was good, but he was not that. So he is much closer to the higher end of effective running backs who can catch out of the backfield and given the right situation can be a dominant back, but like, he is not even in the same category as Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, even Ezekiel Elliott. Like, he is not.
Yeah, I'm looking at here. Those are playoff stats. I don't want those. Yeah, I guess it's the touchdown numbers that I'm thinking. Because, like, his very first year, he had only 728 on the ground, 826 through the air, 5 receiving touchdowns, 8 rushing touchdowns.
It's a lot of effective offense.
And like, I'm not saying because Christian McCaffrey was a like top first round pick. Kamara went. Is Pro Football Reference going to help me here? They are not. I'd have to look into that, but he's not a top 10 pick, or was not a top 10 pick. So, like, I understand there's that gap, but it's like with the Saints, I do feel like, yes, they have Michael Thomas. Yes, they have Latavius Murray before it was Mark Ingram. It's not solely on him, but I wonder if you're the Saints, how much of this is we have to pay him this much. It's not going to be Christian McCaffrey level. It's probably going to be in the middle of the 12 to 16 from Mixon to McCaffrey, but we have to give him this money because without him, our team does take a hit. Like you had mentioned before, like Latavius Murray's good, but is he the guy you want to be your starter every single week if you would lose Kamara in the offseason, which I feel like if he did hit the offseason, unless the Saints are like, nope, we're going to give you closer to the McCaffrey numbers, Kamara may go, let me see what other teams think. Will other teams value me a little bit more?
The problem is that every running back going into this offseason is panicking. Each year, the news out of Green Bay today, Aaron Jones working on that contract extension. He's worried about playing football. His agent's got his back working on that extension. Nobody wants to see the open market as running back because there is no money to be had.
Yeah.
There's too much competition at that position. There are too many good players who are going to be like, yeah, we could pay that guy maybe like $7 million and you want 12. Yeah, I'm going to take that. Like, even if it's a slight downgrade, slight decrease in production, that's $5 million. So fuck you. Walk. Like, go get your 12 from somebody else. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where it's like the name.
Aaron Jones is signing. Like, the list is getting smaller. I agree with you.
Who's the other names that we mentioned? I'm gonna look them up while you continue.
Yeah. No, it's just, it's an arms race here. The running backs are on the clock. They need to get their contracts in as soon as possible because, like I said, the competition this offseason is going to be insane. So the more they get locked down now, it helps them now and it helps their fellow running backs going forward because it means, hey, less competition, which means we can hold our franchises accountable for the money that they've earned. Because let's be honest, running back's position where you get paid based off of what you've done, not what you can do for them. It feels very much like that. Like, it's rough for them, and I feel bad, but like that is definitely where they're at as far as the state of the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. Let's hear.
I was just gonna say some of the names that are, and I'm basing this off of their salary right now, highest to lowest. Kenyon Drake with Arizona, who's 27. Todd Gurley only has a year in Atlanta. Tevin Coleman, James White, Matt Breida, and then it pretty much like kind of falls from that. Like Dalvin Cook is on there; he's working on getting an extension.
Same, yeah.
But then it's like Frank Gore, Alvin Kamara is in there. Obviously, we mentioned Aaron Jones and stuff. But like Phillip Lindsay, another one. And after that, it's just kind of guys that are like the TJ Yeldon kind of guys. So it's like, I do see the point of like, I have to lock it down, but like on a team sense, should the Saints be making that deal now or waiting until the end of the year then?
I mean, the answer is, do they think that they're going to compete next year and the year after that? I think if they get a Joe Mixon-esque deal and they go 3 years in an op, that's probably still more money than I would have committed to the running back position if I were them. I mean, you're basically saying we hope Drew Brees comes back next year and we can compete one more time. And then, hey, Taysom Hill, we'll see if he's the guy. And if we can truly compete, we'll give him those stacked deck, the same thing. If that doesn't work out, we can move on from Michael Thomas. We can move on from Alvin Kamara. Like, there is nothing locking us down long-term at that point.
Yeah. I'd like to bring up a point that you brought up is Drew Brees. Right now, he is 41. He's technically under contract until 2022.
A
little bit. So water. He's under contract until 2022, which he would be 45 if he made it to the end of this current contract. But it's interesting how his contract is mapped out because, oh, never mind. He'll be a free agent in 2022. Because what they did was he's got this year, next year, and then it's 2022. They voided that and 2023. So his last 2 years were void, and it's like it's kind of going on what you said. If Drew Brees is only got this year and next year.
I think most people are expecting him to retire this year, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like just because he's got a year under contract doesn't mean
correct.
He does stay. I think for me, and this is just a short prediction, is I feel it depends on how the Saints do. If they win the Super Bowl, if I'm Drew Brees, walk off on top. Do what Brett Favre couldn't do. Do what all the greats try to do, but only John Elway is the only one to do it.
Elway.
But if they don't win the Super Bowl, it's interesting because his salary kind of flips. This year it's a $2 million base salary with a 16.2 signing bonus. Next year it flips. It's a $25 million base salary and only a 5.7 signing bonus. So his
that's what I'm saying.
His cap takes a little bit of a flip, and he goes from about $23 million to $36 million on the cap next year.
That's why this is his last. So,
you think so?
If it's not his last year, that contract will be reworked again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Like, Drew Brees is a good guy. He'll rework that contract. It's not a problem. But I truly believe this is his last year. They want to make sure that, hey, we're covered across the board. We got all the best weapons available. If Drew surprises the world and comes back next year, we still have the same weapons locked down for him. Yeah. If not, we'll see what we got with Taysom. Maybe full famous Jameis action. But Taysom Hill, number 2 quarterback on that depth chart. That came out today.
I forgot they do have famous Jameis. But you can't be disrespecting the Taysom Hill. He should be number 2. He's proved his time and has proved his worth, I should say.
Because, when they had the chance to play him, they decided Teddy Bridgewater is going to start all them games. Of all the times and all the chances,
Teddy could win games in Carolina.
To have the guy in waiting who you've pegged out as that's Drew Brees' successor for a couple of years now. And they're like, nope. Teddy Bridgewater, take the stage.
I will say, before I get to the 2 quick things from Twitch chat, I do feel bad for Teddy Bridgewater because I feel like just because he's on Carolina now, we're going to shit on him just because he's on Carolina.
100%.
Like, he won games with the Saints. Saints are a good football team. Panthers were not. But I am interested to see what Teddy and Christian McCaffrey do with that offense.
That'll be a fun young team.
And also in Twitch chat, just wanted to bring up, JD says they shouldn't make him the highest paid running back for their sake. They are already over the salary cap by $47 million, I think. So kind of going to what you were saying. And then Eric brings up I would trade him and get something out of it. NFL is a QB league. Maybe they do that. Maybe they sign him to a 3-4 year deal. If Drew is done at the end of this year and next year doesn't pan out, hey, let's go to move him. Try to get something out of him. The other news, Dave, that we'll move into, a lot of this NFL news is extension news today. And the Arizona Cardinals doing everything right, Dave. They're doing exactly what they need. They've got the guy you are hyped about in Kyler Murray. Reason to be hyped about.
Am I hyped about him? You gotta take him in fantasy, so I have to be hyped about him? Absolutely.
No. You were pretty high.
Kyler Murray train.
You're also pretty high on the Cardinals in our predictions as well. Yeah, you were. You had them 8-8, Dave.
I feel like that's appropriate.
No, many people are having them less than that. But the point being, they trade for DeAndre Hopkins, who was in a contract year. And the season hasn't even started. We're 2 days away. Thursday is when we get our first NFL action. Yep. And DeAndre Hopkins has a new extension, only 2 years, $54.5 million. What are your thoughts on this? 42.5 of it is guaranteed. The thing I question is the length of it. Is there a strategy here, Dave, of why they only did a 2-year extension for the best wide receiver, some would say?
Because it's already being tied down to the next 3 years that he's under contract. Like that's why. It's already going to be pretty far out. So that makes sense.
So it's just the 2 years to take. I thought he was maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I thought he was in a contract year this year.
I do not believe so.
I'm looking it up. Spot Rack's loading.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Let's see.
I was under an impression that he was under contract for a little bit still.
So
I just knew that he wanted an extension.
So how Spot Rack has it is they say DeAndre Hopkins signed a 2-year, $54.5 million deal with the Cardinals. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this year's at 12.5. Next year's at 13.5. The next year is at 13.9. And then they have 2 years, but it doesn't say anything for them. So I don't know. Yeah,
that's probably the new deal. That doesn't have details. Okay. So yeah, he's got 2 more years under his current extension.
And then
he's
weird.
got 2 years that are going to be the new extension.
Okay. It's only weird because they say he signed a contract with current contract.
2017, I think. If you look up D-Hop 2017 contract extension.
Yeah, but that would have been, he would have signed that one with the Texans.
Right, but he was traded, so his contract's still in place.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying the way they worded. No. I'm just saying the way they worded of he signed a 2-year deal with the Cardinals. Like, this is the first deal he signed with the Cardinals. That's all I'm saying. But
he was under.
But I mean, this one's pretty simple. Like, this is the move they had to make. Like, they've already got their quarterback of the future. They think, like, I think they've got their running back of the future because I don't know what they're going to do with Kenyon Drake. Are they going to give him an extension? Like I mentioned, he's up at the end of the year.
D-Hop signed an $81 million contract extension, August 2017, 5-year deal.
Okay. And then he played 2 of that in Houston.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then he just did another 2-year extension on the end of that.
So basically it is what you were saying, Dave. You're right. 3 years, now tax up to it. But I mean,
Dave, you were right.
This is something of Cardinal fans obviously are going to be excited about this.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. I think that was the core of the issue that he had in Houston was the fact that they could not get to a new extension because he's like, look, I signed my first extension and I was a pretty good wide receiver. And now I'm clearly the best wide receiver.
Pretty good wide receiver.
He was a pretty good wide receiver. By the time the end of the 2016 season, he was a pretty good wide receiver. He was a top 10 wide receiver, arguably a top 5 wide receiver. Now he's arguably the top wide receiver in the NFL. So that means he needs a new benchmark as far as that guaranteed money. Let's get that on the books ASAP, boys.
Yeah,
and he negotiated himself, apparently.
No agent.
Bold move. So that's why I think I'm like, it had to be part of what contributed to him leaving Houston, I believe, was contract related.
Yeah. And I mean, I look at this Cardinal team and one, I think of maybe I am low on them for giving them 6 wins this year.
They got like the 3rd best receiver in football in Larry Fitzgerald, right?
I look at, hell yeah, top 5, baby. Top 5 in fantasy. Take him again. Book it. But no, seriously, like I look at this team and it's like, you've got Kyler Murray, who is he the answer right now? Like, it's not like he's Patty Mahomes, but he is the future. You've got DeAndre Hopkins, best receiver in football. Christian Kirk, who, when he's healthy, like that's the biggest problem for Christian Kirk right now, is when he's healthy, he's a great option out there, especially in the slot. You have Larry Fitzgerald for another year, who, yes, he may be old, but he can still do his job very well. And you've got Kenyon Drake, who performed well in Arizona compared to his time at Miami. It's just interesting to see. They've got Murray locked down. They've got Kirk, obviously. Your boy Andy Isabella, didn't even mention him. Now they've got
here, finally.
What? He's going to get reps. Because maybe.
And you got to look at the other end. Chandler Jones anchoring that defense, bringing all the pressure.
You've got Chandler Jones on it. Corey Peters is also on that defense. Patrick Peterson, obviously. They also, we didn't talk about it on the show, but Budda Baker got an extension like 2 weeks ago.
Nice. I didn't even know that.
On the defensive side. I saw Sam posted something about it in the Discord. So Arizona making the right moves, bringing everything together, and hopefully this bodes well for them in their future in Arizona. Dave, the next contract move, the last one for football, you already mentioned it. Kareem Hunt gets a 2-year extension, $13 million from the Browns. What are your thoughts with this? Because I'll be completely honest, with me and Kareem Hunt, last year was a little bit of a I should have known what to expect out of him. Maybe I overhyped what he would be like after his suspension, but he didn't have the year many expected, especially after that 8-game suspension. Is this just the Browns saying, hey, we know who you are. We know what you can be. This year, we don't have to deal with that extension or with that suspension. And here, we're going to give you 2 more years with Baker Mayfield, with OBJ, with Jarvis Landry.
You forgot to mention the biggest part. Nick Chubb.
Yeah, Nick Chubb.
Yeah, Nick Chubb. Just that fucking phenom of a backfield teammate he's got back there.
Who's the number one? Who is the number one? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Nick fucking Chubb.
I'm saying
the guy who
is the number one?
Ball north-south. Kareem Hunt is not that guy. Mm-hmm. Kareem Hunt's a dynamic weapon out there. Don't get me wrong. I love Kareem Hunt. I drafted Kareem Hunt in fantasy. But this is Nick Chubb's team. Kareem Hunt's getting paid a premium right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see how he can be better integrated into this offense. But last season, it was very much, by the time he got to start in by the time he got to play in week 10, it was really a matter of like, let's sneak him into the offense. Let's just get him a couple plays, couple touches every game. That's all it's about is just, maybe 7 touches, 8 touches a game. That's a nice area. This year, I expect him to get closer to 12 to 15 touches a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think he and Nick Chubb will split a little more time. He'll be much more comfortable with that Browns offense. It's not starting off mid-season where you got to hit it in stride, and it's a very tough situation. So I got higher expectation for Kareem Hunt, and I think this contract says that they do too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it says. They believe in this 2 running back system, and I would definitely believe in Nick Chubb. I believe in Kareem Hunt and what he had done in the past.
Well, and I kind of 2 things. First off, looking at Kareem Hunt's stats, I keep he is one of those guys. Remember Gary Trent Jr., Dave, when I said, holy shit, he's only a 3-year pro because he looks like a 5-year pro out there. Yeah. Kareem Hunt, same thing. I know he's been in the league for a while. No, he was drafted in 2017, Dave. Yep. He's only been here 3 years. And it's like, holy shit, you're already a staple. Or a staple is what I meant to say in the league. I guess it's because when you come out of, what was he? He came out of Toledo, right?
Yes, he did. Toledo.
Came out of Toledo and made the big deal of he never fumbled in college. And then his first game with the Chiefs gets it punched out. But, I mean, like I said, for me, little bit of that, I want to say stigmatism, but that's not it. Stigma. Is that what I'm looking for? Stigma. A little bit of that stigma of I had him as a running back. I thought I'm the kind of guy that I overhype players, Dave. I'm like, Kareem Hunt going to come back from the 8-game suspension. Don't worry about it. He's going to come out, wreck the world. He's going to do great things. He's going to have 40 touches a game. I totally thought he'd have better. He 179 yards, 2 touchdowns. But like you said, he's gotten a full off season to kind of not worry about a suspension, be with this team. And I kind of agree with Eric in Twitch chat.
But I mean, he also had almost 300 yards receiving, which is where he does his damage.
Which, I mean, you're going to need because Nick Chubb isn't going to be that receiving back out of the backfield. He's going to be the kind of
Nick Chubb just a little fucking bowling ball of damage. Like 1,500 rushing yards last year and almost 300 receiving yards still.
How I look at it is, and Eric even mentions it, Browns have a short window as a playoff team. And with the extra slot, now 7, I kind of agree with that because on paper, Dave, this team,
they're unstable.
They should work. Like on paper, they should work. You've got Baker Mayfield, who's not a bad quarterback. You've got 2 elite wide receivers in Landry and OBJ. You've got, to me, the best kind of a running back duo. It kind of like their potential of Hunt and Chubb remind me of what Kamara and I keep wanting to say Melvin Ingram, Mark Ingram, were in the Saints, where Chubb is more, Chubb's more of that. Mark Ingram, I'm going to run it up the middle. I'm going to beat you, kind of hard-nosed football. And Kareem Hunt is more of that, hey, I'm the quick back out of the backfield. They're going to swing me out, throw me the ball, let me kill you with my speed, in a sense. And this team, on paper, should be better than what they were last year.
Assuming that a certain, pass rusher doesn't want to take a helmet off and try to murder a man on the field.
Good point.
I think they're going to be okay.
But again, Mason Rudolph not going to play this year. Mason Rudolph hopefully not going to play this year because Big Ben's healthy.
Stays healthy. We don't have to see that, but it comes down to Baker Mayfield at the end of the day for this Browns team. But great extension by Hunt. I think it's a smart move to take it, and we'll see how the split works in the backfield this year.
All right, Dave. First off, before we go into Wet Boys, a little bit of breaking news. This broke while we were doing the Alvin Kamara stuff, but I wanted to kind of do it. This is only for the live peeps. As this game is starting in milliseconds, Dave, as it is 5:30 Central Time. Giannis is out for Game 5.
Shocked. Not really. That's caught in my hair. I'm sorry.
I saw that, and I was like, I see the eye. I see the eye of pain where it's like, ow, ow, ow.
Like, I felt it, and I tried to move the hair, and I was like, didn't get it. It's still stuck. Still stuck.
This is mainly for the Twitch folks. The YouTube fam, they're going to be able to judge this in 2020, but I want the Dave Hard prediction. Does Chris Mid show up and the Bucks avoid elimination? Dave's pulling out the not a chance, not a chance.
Jamie finishes his job. This is it.
Jimmy likes it.
G buckets.
Yeah. Jimmy don't like that it's going to 5.
End this shit.
Jimmy needs it to end. But Dave,
send Giannis to a new city.
He's got one more year left.
New city.
They trade him. They just say, you know what, we're gonna trade you, try to get something out of it.
Flat out trade, whatever it's gonna be. Sorry, Milwaukee, you pooped the bed. Bud is not a good coach when it comes to making playoff decisions. Like, that's what it is. We've seen it now on multiple teams. He's a great regular season coach. We watched on the Hawks, who had 5 fucking all-stars on that Hawks team, and they could not win in a playoff series against the better talent. So, like, again, it's just a Bud problem, perhaps. Who knows?
I'll ask you this, because I'm gonna put my money on the Heat.
Yeah.
If Giannis leaves, Heat or Warriors. Unless you think there's a rando team that should be thrown in there.
Depends how quickly it happens, man. Like, if we're talking like pre-draft, the Warriors got that pick. They got Andrew Wiggins. At least that'd be something for him to recoup.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Heat would trade. Like, that's my problem. If I'm the Heat, I'm not trading Jimmy Butler. I'm not trading Bam Adebayo.
Yeah.
I'm not trading Tyler Hero
or Duncan Robinson. Like, the young guy. Like, maybe you move on from Young, maybe Duncan Robinson, but like, would they want that? They being the Bucks,
right? That's the problem. Like, what do the Heat have to offer in a trade, or is this just Pat Riley's gonna be like, have this crumpled up newspaper and deal with it because I'm the man? Like, it could be.
Here's
or they'll wait until the offseason and then take him when he's a free agent.
Here's what they do. Ready?
Yeah.
Season ends because their season's ending today. Season ends. They call up the Golden State Warriors. They say, yo, I want that Wiggins guy. I want that Looney guy. I want your pick, and I want a future pick.
Or I want the T-Wolves pick next year.
Yeah, I want
to equally suck.
Like, I want multiple picks, including the number 2 this year. The Warriors, without a doubt, say, cool, we got it. And then this year in the draft, when the T-Wolves take Anthony Edwards, as Milwaukee, I go, I'm getting my future. LaMelo Ball on the Bucks.
That's how they fuck you up, because the T-Wolves are going to take LaMelo Ball.
And then the Bucks get Anthony Edwards?
The Bucks get Anthony Edwards.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it for the Bucks, but like, I think Ball. I just like Ball. I think he's going to be better. But Dave,
that's what I'm saying. Go number 1.
Yeah. He should go number 1. But let's move into the segment we all know and love. We could talk fucking Bucks and random basketball for days, which we're going to do after this and during it. But this is our segment we love to do every Monday through Friday. It is called Wet Boys. These are our dampest of dudes, soggiest of shooters, moistest of men, and sometimes, yesterday we had 2. Sometimes the mistiest of misses. These are our wet boys. These are our players of the game. People who popped off the day before and sometimes popped off the weekend before. Dave gives a wet boy. I give a wet boy. And then the patrons at patreon.com/MVPvids also vote on their wet boy. You can do so by being in the silver and above tier. Patreon.com/MVPvids. But Dave, we're going to start it off with you like we always do. Who's your wet boy for September 8th, 2020?
My wet boy today it's a simple one. It doesn't matter what happens on the stat line in that box score. If you don't watch the game, you don't see the impact this man makes. A single tweet put me over the edge on Marcus Smart. There was a tweet by Dan Greenberg at Stool Greeny. Marcus Smart guarded Kyle Lowry 18 possessions, held him scoreless. He guarded Fred VanVleet 6 possessions, held him scoreless. Combined, he allowed them to take 1 field goal attempt. That is the level of defensive dominance that Boston needed out of Marcus Smart. And honestly, he is absolutely deserving of this wet boy. This is his second playoff wet boy.
I was going to say, I think his second playoff or his second wet boy of the series, Dave. And you've given him 2 this series.
I love Jason Tatum. I love Jaylen Brown more. And yet I keep deferring back to Marcus Smart because he's the difference maker on the court. When he's able to lock down the opposing team's backcourt, it's night and day the difference out there. So credit to him. Credit to this Boston team. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, for me, so the patrons, I'm going to say, they're in the same line of you, NBA wet boy. For me, Dave, I had a difficult decision. I've got 2 honorable mentions I want to throw out there. Guys that didn't make the cut because I did have a choice today. There was I'm not like it's Tyler. I think his name's Tyler Allegrier. Didn't look up how to pronounce the name because I'm like, oh, he's not going to be a wet boy. But their running back, they won 55-3 over Navy. He had 132 yards, 2 touchdowns, dominated in that game.
Belichick did an interview in that game.
Did he?
He did because he was a Navy grad. He's a Navy grad, so the whole gimmick was he was going to talk about Navy. But by the point that they had him on, they're already getting blasted. So he was just trying to compliment BYU a little bit. It was a Belichick interview, so you're not going to get anything really.
The Belichickian interview that kind of sounds all monotone like this.
Yeah, I mean, they played a good game, and like BYU's a great team. You know, this is what it is.
He had his dog next to him. Just let the dog do the interview. Let Belichick's dog do it. But my other honorable mention is Danielson Lamet, pitcher for the Padres, 7 2/3, struck out 11, gave up no runs. Wow. But I had to go to hockey, Dave. I had to go to the pond because right now, ducks on the pond, Dave. And if there was a duck on this pond, they're getting electrocuted. So I'm going with Braden Point of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And this is a team, first off, about the team. They are a team that's
like 17.
He looks like it. Like hockey players can't be 17 though, Dave. Like there are hockey players that are like really young, and it's the ones that are drafted
out of that guy.
Let's see. We're gonna look and see how old Braden Point is because I don't know. He is 24, Dave.
He was
born March 13th of 1996. But Tampa Bay, they are on a cruise right now in the playoffs. They have only lost 2 playoff games, once in the first round, once in the second round. This was game 1 of their conference final series against the Islanders. And out of their 8 goals, Point, he contributed to 5 of them. Assisted on 2, scored on 2, 5 total points. When he was on the ice, a plus-minus of +4, and one of his goals was a power play goal. So in the end, I was like, dude, because the Lightning have been on this tear, I have to go give it to Braden Point, our hockey wet boy, for today. But Dave, the patrons, they have voted. This patron, or this wet boy, I believe he's been mentioned 3 times during the NBA playoffs now on this segment. This will be his second wet boy, and he's gotten a dry dude. So he had a dry dude and then has now backed it up with back-to-back wet boys on his appearance. But Dave, Spicy P, playoff P, no longer pandemic P right now.
Spicy P is Pascal Siakam.
Basically, Paul George. That's who the wet boy is.
You can't confuse the two. We got playoff
I'm just saying, playoff P, pandemic P.
Is right
maybe
with him.
He might be the
Spicy P is over here.
I don't know. Paul George is playing more.
The north.
Paul George is playing more spicy right now than Pascal Siakam. I'll tell you that.
Doesn't matter. Spicy P is still Pascal Siakam. A nickname's a nickname. You can't take it away from the man. But yeah, credit to Paul George. He played up last night. He absolutely helped this Clippers team stave off another loss from the Nuggets. Mm-hmm. The Nuggets out there look pretty good. Nikola Jokic out there talking a little bit of shit.
You mean flailing?
Post-game shit talker, Nikola Jokic.
No, I think Michael Malone got the best one.
Malone talks shit. Nikola Jokic just kind of stated the obvious in the fact that, flailing is just a way to get the refs' attention. Look at the box score, see who gets the line. Well, 25 free throws to the Clippers, 10 to the Nuggets. you'd think that Jokic would get the line a little bit more, had the rest been calling this game fairly down the line. But credit to Playoff P. He lit it up last night. Maruk's our scumbag Morris. He did a good job as well. Kawhi, very strong first half. Second half slowed up a little bit, but he did the job. Job got done.
Yeah, and I mean, the one thing that I do want to point out from the game, and maybe this will lead us right into it, is the reaction of the night was Michael Porter Jr.'s dad, Michael Porter Sr., where there was that dunk by MPJ where Retro was in the Discord chat at the time, and he goes, "Oh God, that happened!" And like he was ahead of me, so then I saw it, and then I was ahead of Tim, so Tim saw it, and the best reaction is Michael Porter Sr. mask on, so you can't see his reaction like with his mouth and stuff, but his eyes were like he got big, and then looked over and went like, "Yeah, told you it was good, huh?" It was like one of those reactions of like, "Told you it was good, huh? Told you it was good." Maybe more teams should have looked at him in the draft.
Every team looked at him. They all wanted to touch, but that injury history meant no touchy.
Mm-hmm. But Dave, let's start. Usually we start with the East first. Fuck it, we're gonna start with the West first. Clippers Nuggets game 2, game 3 series is now 2-1 going in the way of the Clippers. Clippers lose game 1. They are now 2 in a row. Paul George had a good game. Kawhi had a good game. The thing with this series, though, is with the Nuggets, and we were kind of talking about Jamal Murray in the watch-along after the draft, because it was myself, Soapy, Retro, and Tim all kind of watching the game, and Jamal Murray came up, because in the game, Dave, he had 5 of 17, 14 points, and we were kind of talking about, Retro brought up before the series, how everyone was like, who's going to have the better series scoring-wise, Paul George or Jamal Murray. And right now, Paul George is outscoring him like 70-something to 50-something in the series. Is this something with the Nuggets where with Jamal Murray, everyone might have been, I want to use the word overhyped because of what we saw between his Donovan Mitchell and Murray battle?
Won't stand for it.
Well, why not?
Nope. I mean, he's going up against a different level of competition here.
Yeah, well, and that was brought up by Retro. That was brought up. The defense is different.
Having Paul George on switches sucks. Mm-hmm. You with Patrick Beverley one-on-one sucks. Like, his only freedom is when Lou Will gets out on the court, Landry Shamet gets out there, and then he has somewhere to attack. Mm-hmm. Little Reggie Jackson, maybe. Sure, he can get open, but on the regular, he has to deal with some of the best defenders in the NBA. So, no, I'm not taking this down a notch for what he performed last round against that Utah Jazz team, against Donovan Mitchell, going up against one of the most interesting duels in NBA playoff history, a 50-50 point game, which was just insane that it happened. No, it's just he's going up against a different level of competition. The defenders are better. He's having to deal with more pressure on that defensive end. And you know what? Shots aren't going to fall every night.
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
Is there anything, because the thing I think of is, all right, you're the Nuggets, you got game 1 down. Is it just a sense of, hey, we got to do what we did in game 1, or what adjustment needs to be made for the Nuggets? Because you're right, Murray going up against harder defense. I don't want to take away from the Clippers.
If you look at the separation between his shots in the Jazz series versus this series, even in their wins in the Jazz series, he is not getting the same breathing room. They are much tighter. They're playing him much closer. They're dealing with screens better. I think that's the answer. Is they're just covering him better around that situation. So if you're asking for changes to this plan for the Denver Nuggets, I mean, the question really is who else can you count on? If you think Michael Porter Jr. can deliver again, great. Use him more of a threat, and that way maybe you'll pull the defense in. Maybe that gravity will fall in and Jamal Murray will be able to get some better shots. But as of right now, they're not respecting that, and they're able to cover Jamal Murray like, a blanket on a little kid. Mm-hmm. And it's just there's no breathing room for him to get out there and get his clean look. Yeah. I mean, the Jokic does have a point too, I will say. The Clippers got 20 of their points from the foul line. Whereas the Nuggets only got 6 points. 6? No, 8 points
from the foul line. So a huge discrepancy. But like I look at the Nuggets and I go 18 points from Michael Porter. Like if he's averaging that every game,
you should be good.
I'm fine with that. Like I am like that's where I want him. It's just to me, I like even just I look at the box score from game 3 and it's like, is it something of like, oh, Jamal Murray just needs to make more shots? Is it Gary Harris needs to step up? Because like
Gary Harris needs to play better. Like Gary Harris is a defender first now. Like people who've watched him play,
like he only had 10 points.
He's evolved into a better defender, worse offensive player. Like that's his 3-year trajectory has been like his offense start off here, his defense here. I was like defense up, offense down. It's up.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm sorry, the first year his offense went up, but now it's kind of stationary. Defense keeps getting better, and like he is your better defender out there, so he is getting run up and down the court by Paul George. He needs help out there, whether they need to do better on switches, maybe a little more playing time to Grant out there, who I think can handle the bigger Paul George a little bit better, but that's just me. I think they need to look at matchups. That's what it comes down to is how is Paul George so effective against them in this game 3? And how can they slow him down? Because Kawhi Leonard slowed down the second half of the game, but Paul George felt like the killer in the first that put this game away, you know?
And I do apologize. Some Nuggets fans are probably saying I fucked up. I did. It wasn't the Nuggets winning game 1. Clippers won game 1. Nuggets won game 2. And then the Clippers won game 3. But like even going back to the game they won, Jokic had around what he had in game 3, he scored better in game 3 marginally, 32 compared to that 26. Like it's not a big jump, but like Jamal Murray, you got 27 out of him. Michael Porter, you got 11. You've got like some good points. And Gary Harris was around where he was at, 13 then, 10 now. It's just, I wonder if it's also, let me look up really quick. Paul George in that loss, he had 13. I mean, Kawhi, yet again, everyone made a big deal that he didn't score a point in that fourth quarter, which, we'll be honest, that probably hurt them.
That's a weird thing to happen, right? Like, you got to admit, like, when you look at the game, you might not notice it right away. You're like, you know, he's been in the game, but, like, has he done anything?
And that's why it's like, I don't want this to sound like I'm shitting on the Nuggets, because I'm not. But it's like, in this matchup, you needed almost, like, that game 2, I felt like, you needed the planets to align. You needed Murray to be hitting, Jokic to be hitting, and also Kawhi to be scoreless in the fourth, which isn't going to happen every single night. So, like, I almost look at this series and I go, maybe the Nuggets, like, obviously game 4 will be crucial. And obviously people will say, well, Ricky, 3-1 leads don't matter anymore in the NBA. 3-1 leads are kind of the curse. You'd rather be down 2-2 than go up 3-2 than win 4-2. Like the Celtics are doing. See, Celtics wanted to avoid, they're like, we already did the 3-1 before and LeBron beat us. We'll let the Raptors win 2 to tie it up before going 3-2. But I look at this series and I go with the Nuggets. Maybe I see them winning one more game, but that's all. Like this Clipper team, I feel like Paul George is becoming more consistent. He's becoming what we expected him and wanted him to be in the playoffs. And this Clipper team they went through a tough challenge against the Mavericks. Now they're getting things rolling against the Nuggets before they play either the Lakers or the Rockets, which will be their hardest opponent, depending on like either they could play the Lakers or the Rockets. Toughest opponent they'll have to play in the playoffs in the West.
I mean, or was it? Did they face the toughest opponent in the first round in the Dallas Mavericks?
Maybe they 4-0 the Rockets. Who knows?
I would doubt that unless the Rockets continually get hit in the nuts like they have been so far in the playoffs. Jeff Green, another victim. R.I.P. Jeff Green's testicles. Got punched in the balls.
Jesus Christ. Dick Kick City, Dave.
It happened. Dude, the
Rockets
AJ Styles. The Rockets CEO came out and made a statement on it. It'd be like, it would be greatly appreciated if opposing players would stop punching our players in the balls during the game. Seems to be a thing lately. Not sure why, via Twitter.
We had Rimgate, now we're having Ballgate in the bubble. Hashtag Ballgate or Nutgate.
Players on the Rockets got hit in the nuts so far.
What would we call it? Ballgate or Nutgate?
I think Nutgate rings better.
Nutgate. Yeah, Rimgate, now we got hashtag Nutgate.
Like, it just seemed... and again, I got to give credit to Red a little bit here because the top line of this, I went right to him like, man, be happy Draymond's not in the playoff. That man made a living off of hitting other people in the balls. So, yeah. I mean, the Rockets would be definitely the toughest competition they had faced. But regardless, I think that this Nuggets team, you're right, they have to have extraordinary performances to beat out the Clippers. Feels like if the Clippers are having a B kind of day, they can win almost any game. It really takes the best performances out of the Nuggets players to make sure they can top the Clippers in a game. So it's going to take a lot, but I'm not counting the Nuggets out yet. They have had incredible performances. I mean, they came back against that Jazz in a great series. So when it comes to scoring, I do not fuck with Jamal Murray.
Yeah, and it's like you said, sometimes the shots just aren't going to fall. But let's move from the West to the East. And we kind of mentioned it in Wet Boys. You had Marcus Smart as your wet boy for that. Celtics win and go up 3-2. And the Raptors, it was not a pretty game. We were commenting on it live at the end of the show last night where it was, hey, they're up 37 to 20 something. Oh, that's cool. Then we looked at the end of the show. Holy shit, it's 51-27. They didn't score a single point, and they just ballooned the lead. It ends up being 111-89. Because when I looked at ESPN, Dave, everything from First Take and everything, the Raptors are done, don't have a shot. Are the Raptors truly done, Dave, or do they got some fight left in them to force a game 7?
It feels like they got put down. It feels like they got put down last night. It was like
when extinct.
It was like stay down. Mm-hmm. It felt like that moment where it was like you're getting beat down and they just tell you stay down. Mm-hmm. Like it was ugly.
Throw in the towel, Rocky. Throw in the towel.
It was brutal. It was ugly. It was everything you hoped it wasn't. And now there's talks about Serge Ibaka isn't sure he'll be able to play game 6 because of his ankle. So even more question marks surround the Raptors' ability to fight back in the series. Ibaka's been huge for them. I don't know how they do it. I mean, Fred VanVleet's got to have another kid like tonight in order for him to be able to come back and lead this.
Might be biologically impossible, Dave. Just saying.
I don't know what seeds he's planted. I'm just saying.
Unless there was already one in the chamber we didn't know about.
We need new dad Fred VanVleet performances out here because Kyle Lowry, same thing. Kyle Lowry's been so good, but last night, oof.
Well, you brought it up when Marcus Smart was on him. It was like, no, dude, you're shut down. No vacancy at the rim, baby.
Yep.
Just don't even think and here's the thing I think of. Yep. And this brings me back to a conversation we had before this series. And it kind of goes into the Raptors' future a little bit of how much should we look at Pascal Siakam and go, all right, this is fine. You just weren't ready for the moment. You weren't ready ready for the matchup, I should say, because you look at the Brooklyn series even, where they did win 4 games straight. The first 2 games, okay, 18-19, you're probably thinking, okay, I expect more points out of Siakam, but then 26-20. But this series...
It's a G League team, though.
Exactly.
You can't count that Brooklyn series like he beat down anybody of any skill. They literally didn't have a center for multiple games. They were playing Rodion Spuruks at center.
Yeah, but
he's not a center.
My point being with that is even with scoring 18 and 19, you're looking at going, dude, you should be dumpstering these kids.
Yep.
You should be dumpstering that. And then you come into this series 13, 17, 16, you're like, well, that's not good. I mean, the 16, I know they won in that game, but that's because they got performances elsewhere.
At this point, just give Norm Powell and Terrence Davis's minutes,
Yeah.
Just bench the kid.
I mean,
I'm fucking with you, Raptors fans.
Yeah, the only game this series where I could say we saw what we expect, what we want Pascal Siakam to be, would be that game 4. But he hasn't been consistently what we thought they would be, and that was a big thing heading into the playoffs of who do you want to step up? Oh, Pascal's got to be the guy, but he hasn't. He hasn't been the guy.
It's been disappointing, to be honest with you. And it's one of those situations where I knew he wasn't going to be a superstar this year, but it was if you looked at those games he played without Kawhi Leonard and that Raptors team last season, he was very good. He was very good. And I go, okay, we removed the number one option, Kawhi Leonard, from the team. They're going to add in some more complementary pieces, maybe. They did. And they rolled forward. And it felt like he was set up for success again.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it just didn't seem like he had it on any given night. I felt like this year was more about Kyle Lowry than anyone else on this Raptors team. And he did a fantastic job the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
He knew how to pick and choose his places. He knew when he had to step up. So maybe it's just, like you said, he needs another year of seasoning. We'll see what happens with Spicy P come next season, or further in the playoffs if they are able to stave off defeat against this Celtics team in a game 6. But honestly, I'm expecting, we need one more year of this kid to get better, and then we'll see. But I'm not sure that contract's going to be a great thing in 2 years,
Well, I mean, it's almost like I know Raptor fans are going to get pissed at me for even bringing this up, but I kind of have a feeling like in the next couple years, because I feel like this Raptors team is going to be they're going to be almost. So I'm going to make this comparison, but it's not a 1-for-1. They're going to be regular season wise what the Nuggets are. Great regular season team. They get their points, top 2 seed in the East. Like, you're not going to worry about them when it comes to the regular season. But if Pascal Siakam shows in the next few years that he can't be that guy they need in the playoffs, I fear that Pascal Siakam might become DeMar DeRozan 2.0, where it's like, his time in Toronto after Kawhi wasn't that great, and now he's on said new team after they traded him.
I mean,
that's what I could see.
They're basically the Bucks from a year ago.
Or that.
It's a situation. Regular season teams are a thing, people.
Mm-hmm.
The regular season is a grind.
Yep.
And that is what a lot of people don't get. Teams with depth are able to perform at a high level consistently because they have that higher floor level on that bench talent. So you have to expect that they're going to win more games. Playoff time comes, crunch time happens, high-level talents take over games.
And you're just focusing on that team, too.
Yep, and if you can't find an answer for that one guy on the other team who's a problem for you, shit out of luck. Talk to the Indiana Pacers, who ran into the buzzsaw that is LeBron James. Talk to yourself, who ran into LeBron James. I mean, literally, you had to deal with the guy who was the best player in the NBA for how many years in the Eastern Conference. It doesn't matter how many good players you have on your team. If you don't have someone great who can take over a game the same way he can, or at the same level of dominance he can, you're not a championship threat. And that's what I'm afraid to see. Is I feel like this year was a great transition year for them. But I don't see anyone on that team yet being that great. They don't have a top 5 player in the NBA. They don't have a top 10 player in the NBA. I don't know how they're going to be able to win a championship with that.
Spurs basketball, baby.
It's the ultimate team sport.
Fundamentals.
Yeah. People say that, but the Spurs had Tim fucking Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker. Anyone go back and check how good those guys were?
I mean,
pretty sure they weren't just
Tim Duncan, like
team players.
I forget. Did Tim Duncan get elected to the Hall of Fame? Is he in the new class coming in? Because if he's not Hall of Famer though.
No, he's a first-time Hall of Famer. Whatever the first ballot is, he will be in on.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember if he was in the one that was getting inducted.
Him, Kobe, and whatever.
That's what I thought. It was him, Kobe, and KG, right?
Yeah,
were the ones from this class. Basically, our childhood, Dave, is starting to go into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
I'm saying, our teens era of basketball is starting to go into the Hall of Fame. Obviously, Jordan and Pippen have been there.
2019.
Wouldn't it be 2020?
Yeah, it's the 2019 is not that team. That's not good players. No offense to Jack Sikma and Sidney Moncrief.
Let's see, 2020 NBA Hall of Fame class. Yeah, includes Kobe, Duncan,
Kobe, KG, and Tim Duncan. Yeah, that's real fair. The greatest class of all time.
The 9 members that are going in. Who else is going into that class? You also got Eddie Sutton, Rudy Tomjanovich, Kim Mulkey, Tamika Catchings, Barbara Stevens, and Patrick Ballman. a FIBA executive, Patrick Ballman.
Literally the best class of all time.
But yeah, like you say, how good were those guys?
Maybe top 2 class, because whenever Michael Jordan's class was probably one of them.
Yeah, probably. But hey, that's a conversation for a different day. Maybe we talk about post Hall of Fame classes. But that's going to do it for MVP Sports Live today. Want to thank you guys for checking out the show. Want to thank Dave for another great show. Bucks and Heat going on right now. We're going to be talking about them. Going to be talking about Rockets. I almost said Raptors, Lakers. No. Rockets, Lakers tomorrow, and much more. Too early, yeah, they did. It was 9-5 when I checked.
14-7 right now. I mean, Bucks got the lead.
Still early. Jimmy got to turn it on. Jimmy got to get it done. Jimmy a closer, Dave. Jimmy a closer.
Dante DiVincenzo. White Dante hasn't missed a shot. He's 2 for 2 from 3.
The Panky Ray. Got to bring up the Panky Ray.
I miss the Panky Ray.
But that's going to do it. Like I said, make sure to join the Discord. It is down below in the description if you're on YouTube, or !Discord. Type that in the Discord, our Twitch chat, and you get that link. It's a great time. Great fam that we got over there. Also, patreon.com/MVPvids. If you want to help support the channel, thank you to our Patreon supporters, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. And last but not least, we are on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVPvids, but we're also on YouTube, MVP Sports. MVP Games Live is coming up with Soaps and I shortly after this. Dave and I will be back tomorrow for more sports news. But as always, have a good day, everybody.